Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on the Toolbox. I'm Sherry Balasone, co-content creator for the Toolbox for Real Estate Agent Success. Neil Garfinkel created the Toolbox so that real estate agents could create a systematic workflow to use on every transaction. I know you don't know what that means right now, but I'm going to explain it to you and why it's important to your business, and more importantly, how to do it using the Toolbox. While Neil and I are both attorneys, I also spent 8 years as a real estate broker, just like you. I've sat in your seat for every type of transaction there is. In fact, a lot of what we created stems from my own real life client interactions, as well as stories and interactions you've shared with us. You, as our colleagues, have presented us with the most interesting scenarios, and we welcome your continued questions and comments so that we can carefully curate Toolbox content to make your day flow smoothly, all while following federal, state, and local laws. Let's see what's inside the Toolbox. So what is a systematic workflow? A systematic workflow is a workflow that you're going to create that works for you, but takes all the pieces that you need in a transaction and allows you to use that same workflow over and over and over, regardless of whether it's a sale or a rental. The icons you see here are all of the sections of the toolbox that you'll be able to navigate between on every page of the toolbox. This allows you to go back and forth between our checklists, our templates, and our forms. All those sections are free to all members, and they're the most important part of beginning to create a systematic work approach. Also, you'll find an Ask Neil section of the toolbox, which is also free to all members. You can ask us questions, and you can also send us comments and tell us what you're interested in seeing in the toolbox. In addition, for pro members, is that pro members can search and read everyone's question and answer. So while free members can see a few of them and the one that you asked, pro can search and see all of them. In addition, fair housing and rental resources are specifically curated that I promise you will not be able to find anywhere else. They're two really important topics that we get asked about all the time. They're for pro members. So if you want some elevated expertise that you can't find anywhere else, this is where you should go. We want to start by using checklists. You want to use a checklist that's set on every single transaction. You may have one for sales and one for rentals. You use this checklist so that you ensure that you don't skip any important transactional steps. You want to treat every client the same, asking the same questions and following the same format every time. You also want to ensure that you're collecting all the proper New York State required forms at timely points during the transaction. Choose from one of our pre-formatted checklists, or if you're a pro member, ask us to create one just for you. Next, you're going to select a Toolbox template to formulate an email to a client. Why? Why do you need to do this? You're so good at this, you've been doing this for years. I get it. I used to do the same thing, but I used to have to keep writing the same emails to people over and over and over. So a systematic flow, use the same templates over and over. That way you ensure you're thoroughly explaining the documents you're asking clients to sign, and you're saving time. Keep a record of everything that you send to clients should you need to revisit it later. And this feature is free to all members. Types of templates that you'll find in the toolbox are delivering an agency disclosure, delivering a broker's fee agreement to tenants, delivering an exclusive listing agreement to a seller. And for pro members, you'll be able to download client intake and qualifying checklists for both purchasers and renters. Now that you have your templates, you need the forms to attach the templates. You'll find all the required forms in one place to attach them to your email templates. That way you don't have to keep creating these emails over and over. You'll find the New York State agency disclosure rental transactions, the New York State Agency disclosure sales transactions, New York State fair housing disclosure, New York State affirmation forms for clients who refuse to sign disclosures, and finally, samples of cooperation agreements between REBNY and LIBOR members. Keep these templates and forms in one safe place so that you can reuse them on the next transaction and the next and the next. Cut and paste, easy peasy. If you decide to join us as a pro member of the Toolbox, you're going to have exclusive access to our fair housing section. Fair housing is a really important topic in our country right now. And I promise you, you cannot go in one place anywhere else and find all of this great information. In our fair housing section, you'll find Neil's 10 Fair Housing Golden Rules, Fair Housing Act definitions, Fair Housing Protected Class Geography chart, New York City Housing Voucher chart, the What Can I Say series. And by that, I mean we're constantly telling you what not to say, but what can you say? Well, we let you know here in the Fair Housing section. You also often ask us about emotional support animals. We have everything about emotional support animals and assistance animals in this section. You'll also be able to find client intake and qualifying checklists for sales and rentals. I spent many years as a specialist in leasing here in New York State, and there is no one place that you can go for anything rental. You're constantly Googling all over the place until now. The Toolbox has a rental resources section for pro members. Just to name a very few things that you can find in that section, New York State lease rider chart, which I created myself. We get this question all the time. Which riders do I use on what kinds of leases? This is a townhouse. This is a co-op. Which riders do I use? Check out the chart. 2, Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019, rules and regulations. It's been 2 years, but still nobody knows what they are. So let's go on and really learn everything that you can about it. Roommates and shares, deposits on rental apartments, are they even allowed? How to list a property, and out-of-state and foreign guarantors. Just to name a few. If I haven't already convinced you to join the Toolbox as a pro member, let me give you a little bit more. You can join at a monthly rate of $14.99 a month or a discounted annual rate of $150. With that, you'll receive free monthly CE classes for a total of 12 CE credits per year. That's right, I said free CE classes. And what's really special about our classes, not only that it's taught by Neil Garfinkel and myself, but you'll have a 30-minute Ask Neil live session at the end of every CE class. And you don't just have to stick to asking questions about the class itself. You can ask us any questions. You'll also have access to all Toolbox Fair Housing and Rental Resources content. You'll have access to the library of Ask Neil questions, which are searchable. And you're going to have access to join us on free webinars with other industry experts. Those webinars will also have free Ask Neil sessions at the end. We really hope to see you soon. Thanks for joining us on the Toolbox.